Hey y'all, what's up? My name is Montre. I have a question I want to ask you. Before you answer, or before I ask the question, I want to kind of give you some context of where I'm coming from. Little story to tell you about me. I have a really hard time asking for other people's help. I don't know if you're like that, but throughout my life, I've had to face that and deal with it in so many different ways. It come up in conversation. I want to explain where that comes from with me. When I was a very, very young kindergarten, was it kindergarten? I would say maybe first grade. First grade. It's the 80s. No cell phones. Not like it is now. Parents come pick up their kids, stand in a line, stuff like that. In the 80s, it was pretty laid back, I would say. It's kind of hard to explain. If you watch any kind of 80s movies about kids getting out of school and just running out and just going wherever, pretty much that's the gist of it. With me, I would get out of school and I would wait in the front, and my mom would come pick me up when she got off of work. That could be maybe 4 or 5 o'clock, even if I got out at 3. I hadn't started riding the school bus yet. That was later on, and this is probably why. At some point, my mother could not pick me up. As what I'm told, she told my dad to go pick me up. My dad was a mechanic at the time. He had late night jobs. I don't know what happened between the conversation with that. This is what I'm told. All in all, I was waiting for someone to come pick me up. I wasn't told someone different would come pick me up. So about 5 or 6. Usually someone picks me up fairly fast. I'm usually the first kid to leave, or a friend of my mother comes and gets me. She will tell me that when that happens. 4 o'clock happens, 5 o'clock happens. I'm playing with my friends, not really worried about it. Some kids that I usually never see are going home. Parents are coming to get them. Now it's getting up to like 6 o'clock. Now the teachers are going home. This is what's kind of different between the 80s and now. The teachers, it's starting to rain higher, so you may hear some thunder. The teachers were like, "Is someone coming to get you?" And I was like, well, my mom's supposed to come get me, but she's not here yet. It was like, oh, and they would wait for a little bit, and they would come back and ask me again. I let them know, well, she said she was going to come get me. I'm just waiting. Mind you, this is the 80s. No cell phones. Yet and still, no adult at that time was like, can we go call this kid's parents? They just took my word for it. I could have been an abandoned child. Of course, I'm not really wishing something different happened, because I could have been caught up with CPS if it had been the 90s, or I won't even say that, if it had been the late 90s, 2000. It's getting dark. Now it's nighttime. I'm still at school. By this time, I'm going through some mental games with myself because I'm a little boy and it's dark. And one teacher eventually told me to go stand inside, not outside. At least someone told me that, because I would have still been sitting outside of the school. So she told me to sit inside. There's like this little foyer. There's the inside the school doors. I sat in there. Eventually the janitor comes by and he's like, "Hey, you okay? Someone to come to get you?" And I was like, "I'm waiting for my parents to come get me. No one's come yet. I'm just waiting. They told me to wait." He just kind of goes by and he keeps on cleaning and sweeping. I guess in the 80s, not my problem, not my kid, not my problem kind of thing. Of course, I'm kind of freaking out by now because it's late. I had an older sister too. I was like, well, why at least has she not? Her alarm bells haven't gone off, because maybe my parents, my sister too. What happened? So many things are going on in my head. And I'm like, what happened? And that's when I started breaking. I can remember. You may not remember all the facts and details of things. You will remember how you feel. I remember saying, they forgot about me. How could they forget about me? I was the youngest. Like having that home alone syndrome, except I wasn't home. I could definitely relate to Kevin. I was the youngest. I said, how could they forget about me? When you're the youngest, you expect the most attention because you're kind of used to it. I was about to cry. I don't remember if I did cry, maybe for a little bit, and I stopped crying. I got angry. I remember being angry, saying, I can't believe they forgot about me. I was like in a ball like this. I was just upset. Every time it was dark, so every time a car drove by, I would see the lights. I pop my head up, I keep driving, and then I go back down. So each car was just this reminder, that's not my mom. That's not my parents. It felt so heavy to eventually I stopped popping my head up. I think that's just a weird place for a kid to be, where you just feel like you just gave up. And eventually I saw some lights in the night of a car come through. It stopped. Then I heard a honk. I popped my head up. I don't remember if I ran or if I just walked slowly to the car. I know that I was upset. I was so angry. I got in the back seat. I think they got me some McDonald's. That was gonna make it better. Mind you, don't eat that stuff. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe, I am so sorry. And it was my mom and my sister. I think my sister was in the front seat. She says, I'm so sorry. Your dad was supposed to come get you. How, from the story they tell me, if I can remember correctly, everyone had gotten home. She asked them, where's Trey? Because she went and got my sister. My sister was practically a teenager, 12, 13. You know, at that age, teenagers don't care. I'm going to have another story about that. She's like, your dad was supposed to, she passed the buck to my dad, and my dad's a mechanic. I'll tell you the stories about my dad later. He really wasn't expecting my dad to ever do anything because he was abusive. We'll go into detail about that. I grew up from a very abusive home where I had to see these things. It was at that point where the feelings of abandonment hit me. I didn't trust my mom or my dad that much anymore. That's at 5 or 6. Now, fast forward to the 90s, I'm a teenager. It happened again, except now I'm like 16. Someone was supposed to pick me up after my track practice. At this point, my mom's remarried. I have a stepfather now. One of the two was supposed to come pick me up from school in high school after my track meet. It got about 4:30, maybe 5. Once again, no cell phones. We had payphones back then. I started getting that reminder, that feeling again, that nobody was coming. If you watch my videos, I often say, if you don't do it, who will? This is where I got that from, basically. I don't know if that's good or bad, honestly. When I started feeling that feeling of being alone in the game, and waiting on somebody to come save me, to come pick me up, I felt like nobody's coming. That's when I decided. I had a very big backpack, very heavy, starting to rain hard. I decided, I'm not waiting. I'm not waiting on anyone to come get me. I'm going to walk home. Mind you, my high school was probably roughly 5 or 6 miles. I had to look that up. It was long enough. I don't know if you guys are aware of how Dallas is made. I went to high school in close to Pleasant Grove, but we lived in Pleasant Grove. But my school was mostly kind of on the edge, like almost East Dallas. If you went to Skyline, shout out. But if you know where Skyline High School is, then get the gist. I lived in Pleasant Grove. So I walked the way home with my backpack after track practice, which if you're pretty tired, but I was a pretty strong young man. I had a very heavy book bag and my tracksuit, and I was making that trek. And I remember walking down the street with my backpack, and I could hear other young people around me like, is he just getting back from school? Because it was getting dark once again. It had to be about a good 5 or 6 miles, maybe longer. Is he just getting back from school? Oh my gosh. He'd say that. And I was kind of like, you just kind of ignore people. And that book bag was so heavy. When I got home, nobody was home. And no one even talked about it. No one even mentioned, like, hey, they pick you up. It's as if no one was communicating. So those were those two instances when I was young where I just started feeling like there's nobody really here for me in my family unit. Why would I ask for help from anybody else? It doesn't make any sense, because if I can't trust the people in my family unit to keep to their word and do, help, then like, how can I trust the people outside of my family? And that's not a good feeling to have, but it created this adult version of myself where I was always like, if something goes wrong, I need to figure it out, which is not a bad idea to have. Of course, I think everyone should handle their business and not be so dependent on other people for help. But when you do need help, you have to ask for it. And that was a process, and still is. I have to work on in my relationships of asking for help, because I tend to be a giver and I overcompensate and I give to others because I know what it feels like when someone doesn't come through for you. But I've been so let down that I got tired of being disappointed. And that was some cross to bear, those demons to face. And I wanted to talk about that to let you know that you aren't alone. And there are people who can help you. There are people that will help you. Like me, I'll help anybody. But my own issue is that I couldn't ask for help. So my question, I said all of that too. What is something that you went through in your childhood? What is something that damaged your inner child, that created this adult that may have very sabotaging or beliefs that are holding you back? Is it rejection? Were you rejected by something that happened in the past? Somebody rejected by somebody? Were you abandoned? Were you abused? These are the things that affect us and our future relationships. So when you ask, you start with yourself first, because when you're dealing with other people and you're angry with other people, where is it coming from? A lot of people don't know where you came from, or why you do the things you do, or why you might rather want to be by yourself because somebody else did XYZ. So I just want to say all this to say I understand. And if you need help, I want to be that friend, even if it's online, that can help. And hopefully when I need help, I can call on people to help me out and trust that you'll be there for me. Just know that we have to kind of reflect back on our inner child and how that inner child was hurt. The adults we are is not the real you. The adult that you see is the person I developed to protect the inner child. And when you start realizing who you are, the perception of how people see you now as an adult is only that person is the person you created to protect your inner child. And when you fall in love and when you're in a relationship, we tend to fall in love with the adult, but it's the inner child that we have the real connection with. And that inner child might be scared. They may have abandonment issues. They may have rejection issues. And when they cry and scream that, oh, you don't talk to me enough, or you didn't call me, or you didn't come over, you're yelling at the inner child that went through something for a reason. And the reason why other people don't do certain things, or there's a reason why you don't do certain things. So today, take some time to reflect on those things that happened to you as a child and how they are affecting your current relationships now. I want to leave that with you. If you like, if you want to share, feel free, put it in the comments below. We can talk, we can have a real-time conversation. And remember to make your reality happen, because if you don't do it, then who will? Bashem, Yeshua, Ashe. Talk to you guys later. Love you.